Welcome everyone, I'm Bryn Brown, and today we're talking about hitting consistent 5K months. So I want to give you guys quick three tips or three things that I felt were really critical for me when I first started hitting consistent 5K months. So I know I often share about my story of creating really quick revenue in my business. So when I decided and made the decision that I was going to really go all in on my coaching business, I was able to replace my corporate income in about 12 weeks, and that was roughly 5K a month. And I was able to create that because there were a few things that I had in place. I did not have an audience. I did not have much of an online presence, actually, not really at all. All I had was this drive to create my business, this goal that I needed to hit for income purposes in order to leave my corporate job, and this understanding of how business works from working in corporate for so long and a long history in sales as a background. So, here are the three things that I really prioritize in order to go from 0 to 5K months consistently. Okay. So number one, it started with the product, the offering that I had. I chose a couple of things. I chose to price my programs and create them such that I wouldn't need to work with 1 million people or 100 people or even, quite honestly, 10 people a month in the beginning. It really was a program that I felt was designed to create the maximum benefit for the client. So, of course, we're always putting results first, but maximum benefit for the client first. And then I focused on what does that container look like? And I created a package that would get them there in a set amount of time. And then, you guys listen to this, write this down. I focused on filling that program fully. Okay. So this wasn't here's my smorgasbord of offerings and choose what you want. And I was, not scattered. I was definitely focused. So there was an element of focus and really filling this one. And for me, that was one-to-one private coaching that worked well. So filling this one program first and foremost gave me the ability to focus on this one thing. Now, I'm saying that to you knowing that some of you are sitting there thinking, how boring. I can't just focus on one thing. I have too many varied interests. See how much you can get focused. Now, I have had some clients who maybe come out the gate with a group and a private one-to-one program, and that works well for them. Where it does get confusing is if you're filling one program, it's hard to be filling both because you have to really steer people in one direction. So I encourage you to pick which one. That doesn't mean that you can't get clients in the other, but pick which one you want to focus on first. Most of the time that looks like going one-to-one and then a group and then one-to-many. So one-to-one, one-to-few, one-to-many. Not always. It doesn't always happen in that path, but for many service providers, it does go, more naturally. It flows from one-to-one, one-to-few, one-to-many. So filling your one-to-one program has a ton of benefits. One, especially if you're starting out, it helps you to really build your muscle as an entrepreneur. It helps you to grow in a way that is giving you income, but it doesn't necessarily require that you scale so quickly on the admin side. So it gives you time to sort of build up the back end of your business as well. We won't go into it too much. The point is really think about your offer and the pricing. Okay, if you're going to have to work with 100 people a month in order to hit 5K months, that's probably not going to be sustainable for you. So thinking about the pricing, how you're packaging your offer, and then focus on filling the one program first. Okay, so that was the first tip is really your pricing and your offering and nailing that down. Tip number two, okay, is really focusing on that rate. So I know we were talking about pricing and your offering, but really focus on how you want to take payment. There is a lot of conversation, especially as a coach in the coaching industry. There's a lot of conversation around full payment and getting, how do you get people to pay in full? My encouragement to you for tip number two is to not be afraid of a payment plan. So it's standard at least in the coaching industry, but in many, many industries, you don't have to be a coach, whatever service provider you are, it is standard that there is an upcharge for for charging on a payment plan. Now, you don't have to do that, but the point is that if you have a program and you start to get payments, say you land one client and they are on a payment plan, and then you land another client and you're doing one-to-one and you're focusing on filling your one-to-one, and they're on a payment plan, say it's $500 a month, just for easy numbers. Now you have $1,000 a month for a set amount of time that you know you're going to make. So when I was starting out, I was not afraid to take a payment plan because I knew that that gave me income that I could rely on each month. I knew it was coming in. I knew what was in the pipeline, and it wasn't starting at zero every month trying to create $5,000 every month because I was just getting pay in full. Okay, so I really encourage you not to be afraid of a payment plan and or structuring your programs so that you have payments coming in. So as I was moved to 5K and then scaling, thinking beyond 5K, because I know some of you are already there, that it was hugely advantageous to have this set amount that I knew, okay, I'm always going to have 5K coming in per month on autopilot because I have these payment plans set up, and then everything else on that can be icing on the cake. So it also helps. So say you get your first, you have a couple of clients coming in, now you have $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month that you're able to rely on. That's covering maybe your expenses, and then you sign a full pay client. That's beautiful, and that helps you hit that 5K mark. So there's different ways to get there. It doesn't have to be, you sign one client per month at $5,000. We can start to think about what are different ways that we can make our program accessible, and a payment plan is definitely one of them. Okay, so really structuring your program and offering and focusing on one at a time. That's tip one. Tip two is to not be afraid of the payment plan. So think about having recurring income coming in and the way that you can structure that in your business. And then the third thing that I had, so tip number 3 is creating a really solid system for funneling leads into conversation with you or into your program. Okay, so number 3 is really your systems. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I am a projector, and as a projector in human design, we are really designed for systems, so this came naturally. This also came on the heels of a couple of decades in corporate where systems are really important, and we're always creating and following our workflows. Arguably the most important system you can have in your business is your lead funnel system. How do you want people coming to you? For me, and if you've been around me for any amount of time, you probably already know, referrals have been the biggest thing. So growing, I really ran my business completely on word of mouth alone for the first 3 years. Maybe close to 4 years actually, word of mouth alone. So asking for referrals was huge for me. And of course I teach that whole system. Get excited, you guys. I've got some resources, free resources coming your way in the next handful of days or week or so. But by this time next week, we'll definitely have some free resources for you to get going with referrals because they're so powerful. I want you to get started if you're not doing that. But what that has allowed me to do is to have reliable 5K months consistently month after month for years on end from this referral system alone, so that everything else I do is icing on the cake. So I have the luxury of spending time building out other funnels or creating new programs or with thinking about digital products or other streams of income that may not be my primary business. I have the ability to focus on those things because I know that I can rely on a certain amount of income and a certain number of referrals coming in every month just from the work that I did years ago. Okay, so thinking about what do you want that funnel to be? Where is your primary place? And this can help you start to strategize too in terms of your overall marketing plan. Because when we're thinking about, okay, well, how am I marketing? Where am I marketing? If we can really, again, focus on one thing at a time, just like we're focused on filling one program at a time, if you can focus on one marketing place at a time, so say that's Facebook, or maybe it's TikTok for you, or maybe you love Instagram or LinkedIn, you can focus on one place and then figure out what is that structure for getting people to come in. What do you need to do? Where do you need to show up? How often are you doing that? And really build out that marketing plan from that place. Now, if you have no idea how that works, let's get on a call. I can help walk you through that or help you create a plan for that. But my point here is that, really having a solid system that you can repeat over and over again. I don't care what it is. It could be ads if that's your jam. As long as you know you can rely on it and it can funnel people in, then you can create that foundation of income that gives you the space and the freedom to be creative and to create new things. Okay, so I hope that this was helpful. The last thing I want to close with is just a note about mindset. Okay, so there's a lot of oftentimes I'll meet entrepreneurs who are early in their journey. So if this is you, I'm speaking to you, and they're early enough in their journey that they still have either a full-time job or some sort of day job that's helping to pay the bills. What I would say to you is that the very most important thing from a mindset perspective before any of this even matters is to make that decision that this is going to happen. You have to be so firm and so clear with source energy, the universe, that you are making this happen so that you can be met with the experiences and the opportunities that facilitate that. Okay, so this is a huge part of it. If you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, or we're so scared to put ourselves out there that we're holding ourselves back in some way, it doesn't matter the strategies that you're implementing. It doesn't matter if you're focusing on one core offering or that you have systems in place. They're not necessarily going to work if your hesitation or your fear or there's something holding you back. So that decision needs to be made. And I tell you that from a place of experience because I spent 2 years in corporate America thinking, oh, it'll just pick up steam on its own. And then when it's there, then I'll quit my job. That's not the way that it works. And it didn't work. But when I made that decision, 12 weeks, 3 months, you guys, and it happened. And I really do believe and know in my heart that it was because that decision was finally made. I could not take it anymore. I couldn't not do this any longer. And so I did it. And it all sort of worked out for me. Now, yes, I had all the structures in place, but the foundational energy was appropriate, it was correct, and it was aligned. So that's what I just want to offer you as a final thought. I hope this has been helpful. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your takeaways. Again, if you're catching this live, say hi. I just want to say hello to you, and I thank you for being here in my Facebook group for spiritual entrepreneurs. If you're catching this on replay, hashtag replay is really helpful. I love to know that you guys are seeing this and this is helpful for you. And if you're catching this on YouTube, feel free to join us in the Facebook group for these live classes. And be sure to like and subscribe before you take off today. Okay, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you back here same time, same place next week. Have a good one. Bye for now.